Welcome to another episode of Beefy Bets. We got UFC Fight Night. Nascimento coming to you from St. Louis this upcoming Saturday. And, people feel differently about the card, but better, I see some value. So that's all I need. That's all I need, and that's what we're here to break down for you.
I definitely see some values. I'll be honest though, I feel like I have a lot of no bets this week as well. I feel like I either saw the value or I didn't here. There's not a lot of in betweens.
Yeah, I mean, I have one actual no bet, but I do have some one stars, but I have three stars and a 2 star and some dogs that I absolutely love. So, yeah, I can't wait to dive in with those.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into it. I mean, we can start at the main event. We got Derek Lewis at heavyweight, obviously. The seasoned vet, minus 170, taking on Rodrigo Nascimento, plus 140. How do you feel about this one? I have a lean, but I want to know how you feel.
Yeah, I like Nascimento, especially at the plus number.
Me too.
One of those things where I have it as a 1 star pick because of how my rankings line up, but it's a clearly dauber up, dauber down situation. Lewis is known to shit the bed lately in main events. I can see Nascimento just getting it out of the first round, and Lewis is going to be tired and look like shit as we've seen in the past. Yeah, I mean, I think there are more value, like fights I like more on this card, but getting plus money on Nascimento ain't a bad way to end the night at the main event.
I couldn't agree with you more. I especially love it being a 25-minute fight against Derek Lewis because Derek Lewis is probably only good for 15 minutes, maybe 13, if I'm being really honest. So, and Nascimento is a decision monster. So I really love the longevity of Nascimento in this fight. He does not get hit with huge bombs very often. He's really defensively sound. He's just not the most offensively aggressive, which is still probably works pretty well against Derek Lewis because Lewis is low output either way. So I could see Nascimento getting rounds fighting defensively here still.
For sure. Yeah, he does have the loss to Chris Dawkins in round 1, so he's got to survive the first round. He has had that chin taken by a can in Chris Dawkins, but that being said, he hasn't lost since, and his last win was over Dontel Mays, who didn't look that bad in his last fight out. I mean, there's a big jump from Dontel Mays to Derek Lewis, even at this stage of Derek Lewis's career. But all that aside, I mean, Nascimento's 31. He's in his prime. This is his first main event. I don't think he's going to fumble it personally. But I mean, official pick is 1 star Nascimento. I might have talked myself into 2 stars. I don't know. I had a whole lot of nice things to say. I mean, but I mean, like I said, Nascimento did get knocked out in the first round by Chris Dawkins, and so I mean that's clearly Derek Lewis's path to victory. So I'll probably keep it as a 1 star.
I also have it as a 1 star. Like I said, slight lean. Only reason being simply what you just said is that Nascimento, obviously having been knocked out by someone I consider to be a less dynamic power striker than Derek Lewis. I think Chris Dawkins probably creates better openings. But at the same time, Derek Lewis is more dangerous, and if your chin can be cracked, he's probably one of the guys to bet on to do it. So this is one where, if I was going to bet Nascimento, I might almost do a 2-unit Nascimento and a half-unit Lewis by KO.
Yeah. If you wanted to hedge it, that would make a lot of sense. Or even a Nascimento by decision or something I could see. But 5 rounds, I don't know, that's tough. But yeah.
I could see Nascimento getting a sub here, too, because Lewis just quits and gets to... Because if he takes him down over and over, Derek Lewis, very known to just give up.
Bro, man, I'm more anxious to get to this co-main event because there's so many unknowns. There's so many X factors. I'm really just, curious. We haven't really discussed this too much off camera. How are you feeling about Buckley Ruzboyev? I really do feel like there's a decent case for either guy. I believe we have a close money line. My money line I wrote down is a few days old if you want to give us the current one.
Yeah, so welterweights, Joaquin Buckley right now, minus 135, and Nursultan Ruzboyev, plus 115. For me, I actually have Ruzboyev 2 stars here.
See, that was my knee jerk. At first, I was like, I'm about to be so all over Ruzboyev. Until you start bringing in, there's I've been arguing with debating myself in my head, devil and angel on the shoulders, the old cartoons. So a knee-jerk initial wave for Ruzboyev, right? But then you got to consider he's 6'5", going to cut down to 170. That might be gnarly. Apparently he's done it before, though. Also, you take into account Buckley used to fight at 185, but also Buckley had problems with those 185ers. Like I just feel like there's so many like debate points and unknowns and X factors and give and takes. Like both guys kind of similar. Like they both get first round knockouts. Like I don't know. Buckley's probably fought a higher level of competition. Obviously, he's more experienced at the highest level. But Ruzboyev has a million fights in his own right. So I just keep going back and forth. I land on Ruzboyev 1 star, but like I started at Ruzboyev 2 star. But I just kind of talked myself. There's so many factors. Am I just chewing my head on this one? Am I overthinking?
Man, I honestly, the reason I like Ruzboyev so much is they have the same reach as far as arm length, but that's because Buckley has freakishly long arms, right? I think Ruzboyev being as big as he is going to be problems for Buckley because Buckley left 185 because he couldn't really match up size wise with those guys. And I wonder if that's going to present itself again in this fight. And I think Ruzboyev at the plus money, with the amount of power he has and how Buckley will hang his chin out there from time to time. I mean, we see Buckley take shots. He has a good chin, but he takes shots. And I think if he gets rocked and Ruzboyev gets a takedown, he will finish him on the ground. I like Ruzboyev 2 stars here, honestly.
And then talking strictly power rankings, which always is kind of interesting when you're talking about like a cross weight class matchup. I had Ruzboyev at 17 in middleweight, and I have Buckley 16 at welterweight. So like that once again,
it's a great fight as far as matchmaking.
I'm really stoked to watch it. As a bettor though, I mean, there's a lot of dogs I like here. I mean, this is a 1 star dog for me, but like 1 star dogs, like, hey, we've cashed those before. I like it. I like me a 1 star dog. I do have dogs I like more, believe it or not. Because everybody, I don't know, maybe not everybody, but people that have watched this show for a while know I'm kind of a Ruzboyev ball watcher. I'm sure people are shocked that I'm like not all in on getting plus money on Ruzboyev. I am too. Like I said, I expected to go put my life savings on Ruzboyev, and then I started looking into it, and I just got in my head on this one.
I will be interested to hear what dogs you you like more. That Ruzboyev was probably my favorite, in all honesty, just because he was a guy that I thought probably should be favored here. So to get dog value on him, I really liked.
Fair, and that is very fair. Like I said, I totally see that side of it. I am kind of devil's advocating myself, just down, talking myself out of stars here. But man, I mean, we both like Ruzboyev in that one. You're getting plus money on him, so I mean, we're 2 for 2 on dogs so far, man. We're feeling spicy this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to say. I mean, Nascimento, I feel better about. Well, I don't know because I have him as 1 star and Ruzboyev as 2. I don't know. I see the path to victory as, I guess. You know what? They're about the same for me. I just trust Ruzboyev more than I trust Nascimento. That's where the 2 and the 1 star come from. That's exactly what it is.
I think that's fair. I think that makes a lot of sense.
I was asking myself, like, why do I have it that way? But that is why. That is why. Because I can see Nascimento fumbling the bag before I can see Ruzboyev doing it. Ruzboyev's going to put up a dog fight. I mean, he has 44 professional fights. I don't think you get him out of there easily.
It's huge. Man, let's keep it pushing, though. I mean, this is a fight we've been wanting for a long time. I think it was booked once, rescheduled. Makes all the sense when you look at the rankings. We got Carlos Ulberg and Alonzo Menifield. Like, I'm, like, legitimately stoked for this one as a fan. That's all people are talking shit on this card. Like, I feel you. This main event is kind of dog shit, especially for an in-person arena fight night. But, like, the card itself has some depth to it. Like, Ulberg Menifield, watching that live in person is going to be worth your price of admission.
Well, I think the card has a lot of young depth, which is even more important in my eyes. Like, these are guys that aren't necessarily going to, like, the next fight, Ronbechki. Like, these aren't guys that are just going to fall out of the UFC anytime soon.
Well, these are guys that we've all been hyping up for years now in like the Beefy breakdown era. Like, all 3 of those guys.
It kind of does feel like a Beefy hype card. Like, we're going to get to more of them, too.
Yeah, Ulberg. These are all guys that we've been hyping up for a long time. Ronbechki. Yeah, for sure, brother. But, man, I mean, that being said, what's this current money line? Well, last time I looked, Ulberg was minus 245. It might have moved.
Moved a little bit. So, Menifield right now sits at plus 220. Ulberg's all the way up to minus 270.
Losing value on Ulberg. And that's why this is like, so it's a 1-star Ulberg pick for me, but at that number basically equals out to a no bet in real life money, right? Like, I'm not going to bet a minus 271 star. That doesn't align with my like method here.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I like Ulberg to win the fight. Menifield's going to be dangerous, and I don't like Ulberg at minus 270. I like him at minus 210. I think anything over minus 225, I'm not going to get a ticket on there.
Yeah, I thought that this money line was way too big, bro. Like Olberg has basically been can crushing. Menafield, he's had a couple of L's, but he's tested. They're both dangerous as all fuck, and like they're basically the same age. Olberg's taller. Let's see here. Olberg's beat Iron Turtle Potieria, which we just made a whole video about how much of a can Potieria is. Nikolai Mariano's tough as an old leather boot, but sucks. Stefan and Chukwi and Fabio Chiron are the same guy, and they're both bad. And then he has the Elta Kennedy and Nzechukwu, which I don't know. Back then, Nzechukwu was riding high. I think if they rematched that, Olberg dog walks. I mean, I think Nzechukwu was kind of trending downwards. But and then Menafield, he has the 2 fights with Crew. Obviously, he has the Dustin Jacoby win. I think that's a good win. Um, some L's earlier in his career, got a Paul Craig win like early in his career. So yeah, I just think that Menifield's more battle tested. Like I'm picking Olberg, but that money line's kind of tripping to me.
What do you? I mean, how do you feel about like Olberg by KO? It's not worth
You know
it.
what,
I'm just wondering what you think. Because Vegas has it at -110.
Rose? I'd rather just honestly at that point I'm taking the Menifield juice. I feel like they both have the same chance to like knock out each other, right? Like we're gonna sit here and act like Olberg can't get knocked out by Menifield. Like Menifield can sleep anybody,
Yeah,
and he
like,
has a chin.
and he has a chin because his neck is so damn thick. Like I swear that plays a
Mm-hmm.
part in it.
No, 1,000%. I'm with you, man. Like honestly, gun to my head, like I have to bet one of these guys. I'm probably gonna bet goddamn Benefield, but it's like a pick Olberg on verdict type of deal. I just don't see any value at all.
I mean, the only value I've found is Olberg +300 on decision, and that's just still too risky to bet.
Well, and even on like Tapology's power rankings, they got
Minifield ahead of him.
Benefield
It's
at
crazy.
13 and Olberg at 19. Let's see where my own personal rankings have it here. Um, and then we'll keep it pushing.
I have Minifield much lower than 13, just by the way.
See, I don't. I have Benefield at exactly 13, and I have Olberg at 11. So, like, once again, that points exactly to my pick. Like, I think Olberg's the better guy, but, like, just not at -270.
That's pretty high rank on Minifield. Let me see what I. I mean, is it the Jacoby win that's giving you so much on that?
Yeah, I like the Jacoby win. And I just like it's an eye test thing for me. I like that. He's a fucking dog. His wars with Crew, I think those are on like chin of the year and fight of the year candidates, like in multiple prime cuts years. Like I think Menifield's a fucking dog. Now he's pushing. He's getting a little old, but I mean he's light heavyweight. He's not one of these small weight classes. He's a Olberg, like if I had to buy stock in one guy moving forward, I'm buying Olberg stock. But on one night, this upcoming Saturday, I'm just not as sold as Vegas is on Olberg.
Man, that could be a dangerous one for Olberg. I'm looking at that. The more I look at it, the more I think Minifield's a very live +220.
Yeah, at that number, that's what I'm saying. Like from a betting value perspective, Menifield's the bet. It's like Menifield's the bet, Olberg's the verdict pick, in my
Yeah,
opinion. If
I
that
would
makes
agree.
sense.
Yeah, I would actually say, as far as stars of betting confidence, Minifield gets a 1 star because the +220 is too juicy to stay away from, and what probably should be like a +150 or +140.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. That number's off in my opinion. Which, like, that's how sharps place their bets. Like they try to find gaps in their value versus the handicapper's value. So, like they said, I probably with my own hard-earned dollars, I'm probably not going to bet this one. But if gun to my head, I'm probably placing the Minifield ticket and picking Olberg on the verdict. But man, I mean, I think we're going to beat a dead horse with that one, man. Let's keep it pushing to this next fight.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Super interesting fight. Another hype train we've been pushing. Another guy. They still don't have his picture up on ESPN.com. It's shameful.
That's fucked up.
I know. It's lightweights. It's Mateusz Rambetsky -425. Diego Ferreira +315. I mean, -425 is heavy, but I honestly could still see myself putting this in a parlay. It's Rambetsky 3 stars, 100%. But let me see what the value by KO here is, because I could see Diego Ferreira getting finished at age 39.
Okay.
Rambetsky KO +100.
Don't hate it.
Don't hate it as a prop.
A prop candidate. Yeah, prop candidate for sure. +100. Yeah, see, earlier in the week when I was looking at these, you can get Rambesky at minus 310, and that was Parlay City. I knew it wasn't going to hold. Yeah, Pereira's old. This is a feeding, basically.
Yeah, this feels like an absolute feeding. Let's see. Just got to get this note. Rebetchki at plus 100 for that KO.
Yep, I
Yeah,
noted it down too.
to me, this is a guy that they're getting out of the UFC, and Diego Ferreira, kind of still not a terrible name for
No,
Ron
not a
Betch.
bad for a long time.
Yeah, and overall, the other thing too here that's going to be crazy is that they're the same height, but Diego Ferreira has an 8-inch reach advantage. But I almost wonder if that's going to be a problem for him. Meaning, like, he's going to try to pop that jab, keep distance. Roundbetchki's going to slip it once and come up with a straight line power shot down the center.
I think Rambesky's about to do whatever the fuck he wants. Maybe I'm overconfident. This is a crazy game, but I think if he wants to take him down, he'll take him down. If he wants to, I think this is a
I'm with
feed,
you.
bro.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, can you look up the Olberg Minifield under real quick? It's been a while since we bet an over under, and I bet this isn't going to be good value. But I am curious what that over under is.
We have gotten away from our over unders. That is a good point. So I wonder what they're going to offer here, but over. Where is it? Over 1.5 rounds minus 140, under 1.5 plus 110, or if they
Oh,
go,
I love that.
or if they go 2.5, over 2.5 plus 165, under 2.5 minus 230.
Yeah, fuck that. Let your nuts hang out with that under 1.5.
They'll
Let's
probably do the
go.
1.5 because it's just better
Yeah.
money both ways for them.
Yeah, for sure. All right, bro. So yeah, we're both all over around Besky, man. Now, up next, we got my first no bet. I have these guys right by each other in my power rankings. Um, Caceres Woodson, man. I mean, they fight pretty similar. Caceres is a little older, but Woodson is obviously a lot less tested and a lot more green. Um, both basically strikers. Long. Alex Caceres versus Woodson. What's the number sitting at?
Number here is Woodson minus 210, Caceres plus 175.
You know what? I'm surprised that number is coming in on Woodson. This is another one where, I mean, if I had to bet this, I'd probably take the plus money on Caceres. I think you feel differently, but I have this as a no bet. I have them power ranked right next to each other, like quite literally. I have Caceres at 23, Woodson at 24. Caceres' age, like if you want to fade the age, like definitely, but I just don't know if you can fade the better at mixed martial arts than Alex Caceres. You know what I'm saying?
I feel it. Yeah, I have it as a 1 star for Woodson. I mean, it's something that I've kind of played with the Woodson by decision here because I do think this fight absolutely goes to a decision. And I remember seeing that the value was not terrible on it. So Woodson by decision is plus 110, which I didn't hate.
I don't hate that. I like that more
mean,
than the Woodson money line.
I mean,
I like that more than the Woodson money line.
Also, though, you're going to love this. Caceres by decision is plus 330.
That is interesting. But see, no, I'm not going to place a prop. You know what? I'm going to play some props on like not that sure about, if that makes sense. I like to go the opposite. I like to place props on fights that I'm ultra sure about, like squeeze the value out of the round basket. Like that's how I like to approach my prop placing. And like, so no, I don't hate those numbers you just read to me, but just from like a betting strategy wise, I like to gain value on heavy favorites by using props as opposed to like, it's a pick 'em. I'm not really sure. I'm just going to like pick a number I like. I don't know. I'll probably stay away from this one.
No, yeah, and I probably will as well, in all honesty. But we can keep it pushing to the opener of the main card. Honestly, I might be more juiced for this heavyweight fight than the main event.
Me too. And I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that old Despay don't beat both the main eventers.
I have the same feeling that I was like, oh, I feel like Cortez Acosta could maybe beat Nascimento, and I damn sure feel like Despain could beat all three of them. I mean, I actually love Despain here at the minus 240. Definitely throwing him on a parlay. Like, 1,000%. He has 6-inch reach advantage. Age at heavyweight here, he's 35, so really not that old for heavyweight. And just a way better striker than Cortez Acosta. And Cortez Acosta has not attempted a takedown in the UFC yet. So I see if you're trying to, I mean, I've seen it with Poetan, now with Jamal Hill, who's a much better striker than Cortez Acosta. If you're just trying to throw heat down the center against a high level kickboxer, I'm pouring my money on the kickboxer.
We've seen it, man. We've seen Cortez. We've pretty much been fraud checking Cortez Acosta this whole time. Like we've never really been sold on him. It's just like heavyweight was so trash that he was able to kind of like climb the rankings a little bit, but we were never really sold. There was just lack of prospects to like put shovel coal in.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel that's exactly how I feel is that like Cortez Acosta is a guy they're trying to hype up to us. It's also they're trying to give us a cross sport guy. They love to do it with football. This guy was a baseball pitcher in the like MLB like draft system, minor league draft system. So like they're trying to feed us this guy, but in all honesty, Despain's the much better martial artist. And maybe just as good of an athlete.
Pretty sure we've seen Cortez Acosta get leg kicked into oblivion by like average, like mid-ass heavyweight. So like, I don't want to see what Robelis is able to do to him. Yeah, I mean, it's basically a 3-star. Rankings wise, I have it as a 2-star, but it's 1,000% going on a parlay. So maybe like a 2.5-star for me. I'm all over Despain.
Yeah, I am too. I think Despain is probably one of my key parlay builders this week. I mean, minus 240 is still a great number to get him at, especially when him by KO TKO is minus 185. I mean, give me the minus 240.
Yeah, I agreed. You took the words right out of my mouth. I was about to ask what the KO number was, and yeah, that's the exact opposite of how I feel about those other props. Like I prefer the money line to the prop on this one, especially in a parlay. Parlay lock for sure. Robelis Despain. Learn the name, Robelis Despain.
Yes, sir.
This next fight's very intriguing to me, man. It's got a close money line. Kind of striker versus grappler. Got Vyacheslav Borshev taking on Chase the Dream Hooper. When I looked, Borshev was minus 155. I imagine that's gone up a bit.
No, down. Minus 140, Chase Hooper plus 120.
Oh, so I liked Borshev at minus 155 as a 2-star. So you know how much I like him at minus 140. I'm kind of out on Chase Hooper, bro. Like, not as a human, not as a dude. Like, love him on X. But, like, I don't know, man. He's seeming to somewhat get exposed. Like, he just doesn't hit that hard. He doesn't like getting hit. Obviously, top-flight grappler. Definitely probably a better grappler than Borshev. But Borshev does train at Alpha Male with a room full of grapplers. I like Borshev in this one. You know why? Because I bet against Borshev a couple times and lost. I don't think I'm going to fall for it this time.
Yeah, this for me is it's Borshev 1-star, but mostly because I'm fading Chase Hooper here. I think realistically this should be a no bet, but the Chase Hooper fade in my brain tells me that Borshev is probably going to pull this one out, even though he had the draw with Sajikov. I still like Borshev, and honestly, the last few times we've seen Chase Hooper out, if a guy is able to decide not to grapple with him, Chase Hooper has no chance. I mean, it's the same thing as Paul Craig.
Paul Craig. I was about to say and I'm done. I'm not doing no Hooper by sub sprinkle. Fuck that.
I'm not getting sold on it anymore. I'm not falling for it.
As far as my power rankings go, I mean, we're talking approaching Canville here. I have Borshev at 52, and I have Hooper at 61. So not really high on either of these guys, but give me Borshev. They consider him on a parlay. I don't know. I think Borshev hits hard, and Chase Hooper does not like getting hit and doesn't respond well to getting hit. I think Borshev, like, he lands a couple stiff, straight punches. I could see Hooper, starting to try to pull guard and do the Paul Craig shit.
Maybe fading a little bit from it. I could see that too. Chase Hooper is a dog, though. Like, he'll stay in it until he's finished. Maybe to his own detriment.
Yeah, for sure, man. But, yeah, I guess we're both like Borshev to varying degrees. But yeah, neither one of us is riding with Hooper, but yeah, we'll keep it pushing. Who's next? McKinney Ribowicz still?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so same division, slightly up the power ranking scale on my chart. Not by much. I mean, really kind of the same area. We got Terrence McKinney plus 140, Esteban Ribowicz minus 170. I actually don't hate McKinney right here at the plus 140. but it's almost like, do I even want to talk myself into betting on this fight?
Yeah, that's kind of where I am at. What do we know? McKinney by KO numbers.
Should have him here. Let's see. McKinney by KO is plus 330.
See, I don't hate that. I really don't. I think I like that more than the money line because I feel you. I have McKinney 1 star, but McKinney only wins one way. So it's like if you're gonna put a McKinney ticket, hey, never put McKinney on a parlay, not bankable. But also, so that would mean you're placing a McKinney straight. He only wins one way. I mean, that's like Paul Craig by sub. Granted, that did not cash. So that's probably a bad example, but he only he only he only wins one way. So I'm not like necessarily advising you to bet this, but I'm saying if you were gonna place a McKinney money line, you might as well take the juice on the by KO because he only wins one way.
Let me ask you this: where do you have Loic Radzhabov in your rankings?
Radzhabov. Okay, now we're talking here. Let's dive into the weeds, shall we? Loic Radzhabov, I have at 39, right above Jim Miller and right behind Mike Davis.
All right, and then where do you have Riebowitz and McKinney for just comparison's sake?
Yeah, so McKinney I have at exactly 50, behind Claudio Puelles and above Fares Ziam. And Riebowitz I have not far behind him at all at 54, one ahead of Charlie Campbell and one behind Steve Garcia. So that's where I get the 1 star. I have Terrence McKinney quite literally like 5 spots ahead or like 1 tier ahead of Riebowitz. And like I said, McKinney only wins one way. So that's my logic train of how I arrived at where I arrived at.
Yeah, I was just trying to think back to the Riebowitz Radzhabov fight and how badly did Riebowitz lose that fight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Riebowitz is. This is Captain Obvious. I almost don't want to even say it, but I guess it might help some better out there. I saw another show saying this. It's like Captain Obvious, but like if Riebowitz can make it out of the first round, it's almost the same as our Nascimento Lewis breakdown. Like if Riebowitz can make it out of the first round, then McKinney's fucked. But I kind of like McKinney to get it done. I think McKinney's going to perform well. If not, then McKinney's. I mean, he may be cut either way. Like it's kind of shit to get off the pot for McKinney.
I'll say this right now: the over/under is set at over 1.5 rounds plus 200, under minus 280.
That favors Riebowitz.
Under 1.5 is minus 280, so the favorite is short fight.
Okay, never mind.
I actually kind of like McKinney at the plus 140 there.
I think if you're going to take that, especially using that, what Vegas is telling you, under 1.5 means KO, means the plus 330 McKinney by KO ticket cashes.
I will say, though, this too. McKinney has the 2 losses in the UFC, 1 sub, 1 KO with a brutal flying knee KO. Who wouldn't get KO'd by that? But Riebowitz wins by sub and KO almost exclusively.
You know what, though? Even our little debate here, let's this one. Neither should our bet. Neither should our viewers. Let's be real. Let's give out sound advice here.
Yeah,
we're not touching it, and neither should you.
No bet McKinney and Riebowitz. It's just too
McKinney by
unpredictable.
KO on verdict. Use hella XP on verdict if you want, but I don't. You can't trust real life hard earned money on Terrence McKinney. I've learned the hard way. And so go hard, go ham with your XP on verdict. But yeah, I can't advise anybody to place money on Terrence McKinney.
Well said. Well said. Let's keep it pushing. We'll flip to the women's side of things in the strawweight division. We got This is actually a pretty fun matchup here.
Oh yeah, this fight's gas.
Right, I guess Tisha Torres got married to Raquel Pennington finally. Tabitha Ricci minus 140 taking on Tisha, formerly Torres, now Pennington plus 120. I love Ricci here minus 140, 2 stars.
2 stars. Okay. Yeah, I see how you arrived there. I have Ricci 1 star, and I liked it even a bigger number. The fact that the numbers came down a little bit makes me like it even more.
I like a lot.
Let's see
here. Seems very parlayable. And honestly, Ricci by decision, I would love to see the value we're getting on that.
Well, so here's the thing. Here's how I arrive at my 1 star. I have Ricci at 12 and Torres, Pennington, whatever, at 14. And Tisha Torres, this is her first fight since having a baby. So she's obviously a lot older, but she's not super old.
Well, and also like the time
Ricci,
off while you're pregnant. Like I know she wasn't doing jiu-jitsu and striking. Definitely not striking while she was like hella pregnant.
yeah. I mean, hey, I see where you're coming at here. All right, let's say this though. Let's say if Tisha Torres didn't lose a step, like if she's the exact same level, like when she left, she was ranked like what 7, 8 in the world. Like that would be a higher level than Ricci. Now I know that's like a big, but you see, like just you know, entertain this little exercise here. Like if Tisha Torres is exactly as good as when she left, big if, but just take that leap with me, then that would be a hard fight for Ricci, right? You're kind of banking on the pregnancy, banking on the cage rest, right? Isn't that what you're basically saying? Or do you agree
No,
with that
no,
take?
no. I wouldn't say that. I'd say like honestly, she looked okay whenever. I mean, she has lost to Rodriguez in 2019, and then she fought Sam Hughes and someone Fortino in 2020, and then as the nice win against Angela Hill. I think this is when Tisha Torres was the best we had seen her at that time. I still think at that time, 2021, where they are now, especially like if she's degraded the same amount as Hill has, or even close to it, then I definitely like Ricci. And then she has the split decision loss to Mackenzie Dern before the pregnancy and all the time off. I don't know.
You
I
know
just
what? You know what? Sold, bro. No, you know what? I'm going to stop arguing back. You had a better week at the books last week than me. I need to listen to my sage old friend Harrison. And yeah, you know what? I just added my second star. You win. I'll take it in red, good sir.
sold. Now, what do you think about the Ricci by decision plus 130?
Thing I said earlier about how, like, if
Need
I'm
it to be
not ultra
juicier?
sure on a fight, no. If I'm not ultra sure on a fight, then I'm not gonna bet a prop. You know what I'm
Fair,
saying? Like I like betting
fair. I
props
see.
on
I
my
see.
bullish. Yeah.
I see. I
Like
see.
Rombowski's like my exact philosophy on props. Like take a 3 star that has dog shit value and squeeze value out of it with a prop. That's my like approach to prop betting.
I see. I see. I like where you're at with that. I like where you're at with that. Probably talking me into 3 units on the Rombashki KO. I might just be going big on it. I don't know. I might be what you're talking me into. Let's keep it pushing. That fight will be interesting, but like I said, for a lot of reasons, I like Ricci.
Yeah.
The mountain thing where Ricci's here and Pennington's here, but it's the peak is here.
Yep. Agreed, brother. Who we got up next?
Man, next fight's gonna be hard to call. Welterweights: Trey Walker minus 160, Billy Goff plus 135. Billy Goff, tough son of a bitch, but Trey Waters on paper probably a lot more built for this fight. I mean, 6'5", 77-inch reach.
You just chilled that so hard. You called him Trey Walker. Reminded me of
Did
my
I?
gun. Reminded me of my Gunbridge glory days on 300 lead up. But yeah, man. I feel you, but I think Waters all height. I think it's like that's all it is. Like if every category besides height and reach, I like golf. Golf 1 star here, especially the plus money. They're both at the same level. I think they both have 1 or 2 wins in the UFC. Like they're both really green. Waters is super tall, but like, and this is just off memory. I haven't rewatched any fights or anything, but from what I remember about Waters, it's like, yep, he's tall. Like about where it ends, and then like golf, presents some problems. Has some power. Is a dog, like you said, got a chin. I don't know if a fighter the level of Walker Waters. You got me fucked up now. But like, do you think a guy of Walker's ilk is able to just like pump the jab and keep it at range and control a fight? I think these younger, like lower tier, younger, greener guys struggle with that. Like really control the range,
Am I able to see?
implement.
Am I able to see this guy's takedown defense anywhere? Because if I could just know if he could defend a takedown or not, then I would have a lot better take on this fight. Trey Waters, that is. Because if he can't, Billy Goff's gonna take him down. You know what?
What's
1 star Billy Goff. I'm sold in all. Like, give me the bells and whistles. I almost want to go 2 star for the value. I actually like. What's the Billy Goff by KO?
say I like Waters' wins more than I like Goff's wins
I like the
for
dog and
what
Billy
that's
Goff.
worth.
Billy Goff, TKO
Well,
KO plus 300.
But also, Billy Goff has two Bellator wins. Between Bellator, Contender Series, and UFC, he's 4-0. Like, you may look and say, oh, 1-0 in UFC. But Bellator, Contender, and UFC is 4-0. That's a little more impressive if you ask me.
Also, were we calling Kanoshita by the end of that fight, or did we think he was okay?
Let's see. I'm not going to speculate here, and I do not remember who the
Because
fuck
Waters
that is.
beat
Let me look.
Quinlan, and I remember that being a pretty good display for Waters because he was just tagging Quinlan, but Quinlan, very poor striking defense and very high offensive output, and just couldn't find the
Yeah,
mark.
yeah. Kanoshita was correct. Firmly entrenched in the can tier, right above Mike Blood Diamond Bathathan. So,
Ooh.
yeah. So,
Ooh. We're
so that's
back
what
to
I'm
Billy
saying.
Goff 1 star.
Back to Billy Goff 1 star because I mean, Waters' wins are more impressive. Like that Quinlan win is much better than anything Billy Goff has shown us. Because I'm not going to pretend to know who these Bellator guys were.
Yeah,
But
but
I
the
mean,
Quinlan loss, I feel like, or the win is aging poorly just in my eyes because Quinlan, if we go to. What's up?
I was just going to say like, but not aging as poorly as Kaneshita. That's what I'm saying. Like it can age as poorly as you want. It'll never be Kaneshita.
I agree, but with Quinlan, he got that win in his first UFC fight, and he's a guy that his 2021 performance on the Contender Series got changed to no contest because he tested positive for performance enhancing drugs. And so then he has the lost Trey Waters, and then recently he got beat the fuck up by Danny Barlow. And I like Danny Barlow, but beat up bad. And so I'm just saying, like, I wonder, like, was he cheating the whole time he was in amateur ranks? And, like, now that he can't, like, he's actually Josh Canlan.
Yeah, this is much ado about nothing. We both have Goff 1 star. Take it for what it's worth.
Fair. With that said, let's keep it pushing to a much more interesting fight. Just, I think, higher skill level than what we've been talking about recently.
I'm about to blow your mind, my friend. I'm about to blow your mind.
All right, well, I've been wanting to be talked into something on these early ones. I need more candidates. I'm the Democratic Party right now. I need a candidate because mine is not looking good in office. We got flyweights Charles Johnson plus 125, Jake Hadley minus 150. What do you got for me here?
What's Johnson's number, my duck?
Plus 125.
Came down because people are betting on it, much like I'm going to. Johnson 3 stars, baby. Let my nuts hang. I'm all over Johnson. That's the dog I've been hitting and alluding to this whole time, saying there's a dog I like more, there's a dog I like more, there's a dog I like more.
Really?
I'm not that in on Hadley. I know you're not that in on Johnson, so this will be an interesting little debate. Purely speaking, power rankings here. Where is Johnson? Where is he at? Here. Johnson, men's flyweight. I got him at 20. So I'm not a Johnson ball washer. Now, you can call me a Jake Hadley hater if you want to, because I got him at 36. I'm just, I don't know. I like Johnson's had some losses, but he's fought some dogs. Hadley, let's pull this up. I don't want to talk out of my ass here. Let's see.
Hadley has the debut loss to Nascimento. Then he subbed Carlos Candelario, who's a striker. Then he beat Malcolm Gordon KO first round. That was a nice win.
And
I mean, just he looked good though doing it. Like I know against Canada.
yeah.
And then the loss to Cody Durden, but I don't think he looked so good in that loss, if I do recall.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's the fight that turned me off of him. And then Charles Johnson, 14-6 salty record. He's big for the division. He's athletic for the division. But yeah, he has the win over Azat Maxim. That does a lot for me. He also has a loss to Durden, but he has the loss to Ode Osborne. He has the win. He's fought Makayev. I like the strength of schedule. I like the size. Jake Hadley's a smaller flyweight, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, how tall is he? Like 5'4", 5'7", so I'm kind of full of shit. But anyway, I don't know.
I also low-key love the activity here for Charles Johnson. I mean, we're talking about in 17 months, he's going to be taking his 6th fight in the UFC. That's awesome.
Yeah, no. He's been active. Like I said, he's been fighting high-level guys. Hadley's been 50-50 against mid guys. I love Johnson in this one. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'll end up with egg on my face, but I think I'm going to have a dog parlay with Johnson. And I'm going to have a Johnson straight, maybe like a 2-unit straight, maybe even a 3-unit straight. And I don't know. I like Johnson a lot, brother. I don't know, bro. I mean, do I need to be talked out of this? How you feeling about this take?
No, I honestly I like Johnson a lot at first glance. And I kind of talked myself out of it, but now that I recall it, it's like Charles Johnson gave Mikhaev a good fight, and Jake Hadley was
Yeah.
calling to fight Mikhaev and never could get the matchup, so they never even considered him to be that level. So, transitive property of like what level do we think a guy is on? Yeah, I think Charles Johnson, higher level, being the underdog. I see the 3 stars. I put it as 3 stars for myself. I'm absolutely going to bet it. Probably as a straight.
Woo!
Might put it
Let's
on a parlay
go.
too, just to juice something crazy.
Saying, bro, like I gotta trust my system, right? Like I gave it a 3-star before I knew he was a dog. So if he would have been a -110, then I'd have it on a parlay. But I'm not gonna juice the parlay with the plus number. I gotta stick to the system.
I agree. I agree entirely. Let's keep it pushing. We have 2 more fights to get through before we get to the Beefy Best Bets section. This fight is going to be welterweight Jared Gooden plus 180 against Kevin Jousset minus 220. Man, I
Ooh.
don't know a whole lot about Jousset other than he looks pretty good, man. I mean, the win against Kiefer Crosby, whatever. Kiefer Crosby's a can. But the win against Song Kanon, I became a Jousset believer. That being said, Jared Gooden, always a tough out.
Fuck that. Juice 3 stars. Let's go.
Ooh,
I agree
okay.
with you. I'm kind of in on Juice. I have him at like
I had him as 2
I
stars,
have
but
him
I
at
definitely like him for a parlay, just for where I
I
had him.
have him at so I had him at 3 stars, and that was at -240. That number's dropped to -220. That's screaming parlay to me. I have him at 38, so I'm not saying he's a world beater, but who's he fighting again? Let me look this up.
Uh, Jared Gooden.
Yeah, Gooden, I have all the way down at 64. Like I have him literally one spot out of the cans here. Like I'm not in on Gooden. I'm not a good believer. I actually like Juice. I am a Juice believer.
Let
He
me
said he
ask.
has a lot of work to do,
Let me ask you
but
this:
I just think it's a mismatch.
Where do you have Song Kanon?
Well, that's a good question, good buddy. Let me look it up real quick. Song Kanon, I have at 48,
And you have Jared Gooden where?
60, or yeah, 61 or 64.
All right, we're locking Kevin Jousset. We're locking
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Jousset.
That's what I'm saying,
All
bro.
right,
That's what
so
I'm saying. Like,
Jousset and Duspain now become the cornerstones of the parlay.
correct. I have them both in my. I have a 4-legger that they're both on.
All right, sweet.
Correct.
It sounds like we're going to actually come to a beefy parlay that's like we probably both want
Juice.
all 4 of. Yeah. Are you putting Charles Johnson on that?
I am. I
Okay.
am.
I mean, I'm here for it. I'm riding. I'm riding. I'm riding. I'm riding. Now,
Let's go.
let's get to the last fight because I actually have 3 stars on one of these girls. Women's flyweight, JJ Aldridge, plus 115.
Better
Vicky
be
Kahari.
Aldridge. Better be Aldridge.
What? No, no. I'm fully fading JJ Aldridge.
Fully fading Hardy. You're tripping, dog. I think Hardy's a can.
I think they're both super cans, but I think Hardy is more likely to pull out a win. I'll just, like, I think past to victory, what's Aldridge going to do? Hold her on the fence? Like, I don't, she just does nothing. Like, when she beat Liang Na, that was because Liang Na was tired. That wasn't because JJ Aldridge.
Well, and Liang Na sucks. Hold on. I got
I
to pull up
mean,
Hardy, though. Because honestly, bro, like I said, I need to listen to you more. I need to listen. Last week I was stubborn, and you made more money than me. So like maybe I need to reevaluate here. I got Hardy pulled up here. Let's see. Win over Juliana Miller means absolutely nothing. See, in the last win over Jamie Lynn Horth, split decision. I have Horst in the can tier. I am, and then the loss to Bea Malecki before that, all those years ago in 2020. Went over Poliana Viana, which is nice, but Viana was a baby. It was in 2019. Lost to Andrea Lee, 2018, but Andrea Lee sucks. And then let's go to Aldridge real quick. And I know resume isn't everything, but let's see here. Yeah, Liang Na can. Montana De La Rosa, I think that's the win that kind of sold me on Aldridge. You're like, I used to think Montana De La Rosa was a can, and I'm not saying she's great, but I think like Montana De La Rosa is a better win than Horth or Miller or these cans that Hardy's beaten. And then you got to look like Aldrich lost. Aaron Blanchfield, yeah, let's hold that against her. Lipsky, ranked girl. Win over Jillian Robertson. Win over Vanessa Demopoulos. Win over Courtney Casey, which at the time that win was considered decent. Lost to Macy Barber. Also beat Poliana Viana. So she has the same Poliana Viana win that Hardy does with way better competition. Like her L's are like to the best girls in the world, basically.
Yeah, and she got to a
The
decision with
Demopoulos,
Lipsky. She's
like
tough.
the Robertson win, the Demopoulos win, the De La Rosa win. Like we can't just focus on Liang Na here.
All right, I'm switching back. I'm going no bet because I just don't want to bet on a women's fight to open the card on any sort of facet for a parlay or straight. I just don't want to even bet on it. I've talked myself out
All
of it
right,
just from a positioning and worth point.
all right, and you know what? You talked me out of because I had Aldrich 2 stars, and I was going to do an Aldrich Johnson 2 leg parlay, but I think there's other dogs that I can do that with.
I just cannot trust JJ Aldrich. I mean, I feel like she fumbles the bag every time every time she gets rolling, she fumbles.
Fair, 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 fair. All right, bro. So that's our breakdown. Now.